On the phone with Ryan Hernandez. Ryan Hernandez is the Vice President of Engineering and Technical Services at DJ Engineering out in Augusta. Hello, Ryan.
Hello, sir. How you doing?
I'm great, thank you. I appreciate you taking a couple minutes because this is really exciting. You taught me something a couple days ago when you called into the show, and I had to have a longer conversation with you. The Artemis 1 rocket on the 29th of this month, when it blasts off for its 42-day mission to the moon and back, sort of as a first step toward 2025 and getting man on the moon, the Artemis rocket is taking a little bit of Kansas with it. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
Man, that's fascinating. You told me that DJ Engineering is responsible for one of the larger components on the Artemis 1 rocket, correct?
Well, the larger component that I mentioned to you is not Artemis 1. It's a future Artemis mission as part of what they call the EUS,
okay,
the Exploration Upper Stage vehicle that will go on top of the core stage in future launches. As far as Artemis 1 and DJ Engineering's efforts in the Artemis 1 program, we're primarily got components on the fuel tanks.
Okay.
Artemis 1 is what they call a hydrolox. So they have large hydrogen tanks along with a large liquid oxygen tanks. Obviously, once this thing gets up into altitude, there is no more oxygen. So if you want to burn hydrogen, you have to take your oxygen with you.
Yep.
That's one of the challenges with liquid-fueled rockets. Requires very large tanks. Those tanks are compiled of what they call barrel panels that make up the walls, transition into the dome caps. Think of a residential propane tank times many times in size.
So
made out of aluminum instead of steel. Same concept. That they're high pressure tanks. So they have a cylinder, then they have somewhat spherical ends on them, and they fill them with liquid hydrogen, liquid oxygen, and pressurizes and so on. We make what they call the Y rings for those, and unlike the one we're making for Artemis, that's one piece. These have to be made in 6 pieces because they're so big.
Wow.
We ship them down to MAF, which is a Mouchard assembly facility, a NASA facility in New Orleans. And their equipment down there will weld them up, machine them, then weld them into the tank and eventually into the vehicle. The core stage is fully assembled at MAF, and then it barges over to Kennedy Space Center in Florida.
How many years has DJ Engineering been working on these components?
We started 2012, 2013, and we actually started with a contract for the domes. The domes are a 12-piece panel, or require 12 panels to make the dome. We had struggles with our shop team supplier, and they were unable to form the dome to shape. NASA goes to Germany to get those formed. They have an NC shop team forming process that was developed by a metal forming institute there in Germany. So we thought we were kind of out of luck with it, but the engineer called me and said, we need some test panels. Is there any way that DJ can make us some test panels? And I'm like, if they don't have to be, one-piece panels, we can piece these things together, weld them together, whatever you want. We'll make you some test panels.
Right.
And it turned out to be a blessing in disguise for us, because here we're thinking we're going to get a contract canceled. And instead, we ended up providing 45 test panels. And the guys down at MAF in New Orleans, they had a nickname for them. They called them Frankengores. They're called Gore panels, and ours were kind of pieced and welded together, so they called them Frankengores.
Frankengores, okay.
But it saved the program quite a bit of time. Germany was going to take over a year to deliver, and we were able to get them these test panels in a matter of a couple months, and that allowed them to do all their OJT on-the-job training on the weld machine and all their weld qualifications. So anytime they do a new program like this, they'll weld up weld articles, and they'll weld it up just like a real a flight article. But then they cut it all up and they do mechanical testing to make sure that it meets all the design requirements. The ring that we're actually cutting on the machine right now for the exploration upper stage is also a weld qual article, so it will never fly. We've got 2 more to build right behind it that will be the flight articles.
Okay. On the 29th of this month, when the Artemis rocket blasts off, everyone at DJ Engineering going to get like an extended coffee break to be able to like sit and watch it?
Most likely. We actually got an invite to send a rep to be there and watch the launch, and unfortunately we just got too much going on. We're really busy, and we had to decline the invite. But that's a hard one to turn down.
Right? No, I get it.
I did go out to KSC in February and got to see the vehicle. I got to go into the vertical assembly building, the VAB. That's where all the Saturn vehicles were assembled.
Right.
So a lot of history in that building. Very cool trip. But another problem trying to make a trip to see a launch is they don't always go off when they're planned. So you got to plan to be there a while,
right.
And we just can't. We're busy.
No, I get that. It's a good problem to have, to be that busy. So when you were younger, Ryan, like, I don't know, teenage years, did you always know you wanted to, build rockets and send things into space?
I'm a machinist by trade. Okay. I actually took a machine tool program in Cali County. I'm from Mark City. My junior and senior year of high school, I knew I wanted to be a machinist or an engineer, but I didn't necessarily have any desire for it to be aerospace or whatever. But if you're going into that industry in this area, you got about an 80 to 90% chance landing in aerospace. And as I did, I got more of the aerospace bug, and it's just neat to be a part of the programs that we're a part of, and obviously Artemis being one of them.
Well, certainly we are Kansas proud, Ryan. DJ Engineering doing some really special stuff, and when that rocket goes off on the 29th, it's going to mean just a little bit more, since we all, I think, listening now know we have a bit more of a personal connection to the story of the Artemis program, thanks to you and the men and women at DJ Engineering. So Ryan Hernandez, Vice President of Engineering and Technical Services from DJ Engineering out in Augusta, thank you so much. It's really a fascinating story.
We're extremely proud of it. I appreciate you taking the time to do this interview with me, and thank you, sir. Have a good day.